So in the last video, we have seen the logic for 16 cross 2 LCD. Now we shall see the logic related to 4 cross 4 keypad. Okay, so in this video tutorial, let us understand the logic of key detection. So as said earlier, we have 4 rows and 4 columns. Now to find which key has been pressed, we need to find out the corresponding row number and the column number. That is the logic. For example, if key 0 is pressed, then it is row number 2. Right? This is row number 0, row number 1, row number 2, and this is column 0, column 1. So it is column 1. So once you find out this row number and column number, we will be able to identify which key has been pressed. So we need to see this logic. Now let us see the logic now. So as said earlier, when no key is pressed, the port pins, that is the pins connected to the column, will always read high, as you can see. So these are the input pins. Whatever comes to those input pins, they will read it. So they are all connected to active high. So that is the default state. So whenever you receive a 0 onto this port pins, it means a key has been pressed. I repeat, when no key is pressed, all the port pins will read high. When any of the key is pressed, that corresponding port pin will read a 0, which is an indication that a key has been pressed. You can underline this statement. Okay. So as said, rows have been configured as output pins, whereas columns have been configured as input pins. Now let us start the logic. Let's say this key, that is 0, has been pressed. So how will you start? First, we will make all the rows as 0 because all the rows have been configured as output pins. So we can write 0 or 1. So here we are writing zeros to the rows. So I write 0 to this row, port 1.9, then this, and this. So all the rows have been made 0 now. Okay. So I have written 0 to all these rows now. So what next? Let us start with row number 0 and check if any key has been pressed in this row or not. So this row, if you see all these connections, this is connected to 0 now. Right? Have you pressed key 1? No. So if you have not pressed key 1, this works as an open circuit. So in that case, P1.0 will still read a high. Has key 2 been pressed? No. Key 3 has been pressed? No. Still this will read a high. Has key 4 been pressed? No. I will just draw this and show you. For example, let's say I have not pressed key 2, right? So this acts as an open circuit. It means this is not nowhere connected to this. So where is it connected then? So this is connected. This is the line. This is the port line. So this is connected to the high. Similarly, the other 3 also. Fine. Now, so I started with row number 0 and I am checking whether any key has been pressed. I have not pressed any key. So what I will do now? I will go to the next row now. So I made row number equal to 1. And again I will check whether I have pressed any key or not. In this case also I have not pressed any of these keys. Right? So I have not pressed any of these keys. What will happen? This acts as an open circuit. So in that case, 5 it is connected to column 0 and this is connected to where? High. So hence all these pins will also read high. So we didn't find a key press even in row number 1. Then I will make row number is equal to 2. and check if any key has been pressed now. So the first key is 9. Okay, I have not pressed this key. So in that case, see, where is it connected? See, this is connected to P1.0. Because this is open circuit, this is open circuit because you have not pressed any key. So what will happen? So this end will be connected to a high, which indicates this key has not been pressed. Now comes a scenario wherein we have pressed this key number 0. So when you press, when we have pressed this key, it means what? This behaves as a short circuit now. There is a connection established. Now what will happen? As we have made this as 0, so this is connected to this, right? These are anyway open. This is connected to this. Now this port pin has got two paths, that is P1.1. It has this path as well as this path now. So which path it will get connected? It will get connected to the lowest resistance path, because here you can see you have a very high resistance. Now that this key 0 was pressed, so this is a short circuit, and this, because we had sent a 0, so this 0 will go to this port pin, that is P1.1. And when you receive a 0, it means it indicates a key has been pressed. So in row number 2 and in column number 1, so this is column number 0, this is column number 1, you find that a key has been pressed. So whichever is that key, that you will be displaying onto the LCD. So this is the logic. Okay. I shall again explain for one more key. Okay, let's say I have pressed key number 8. So what will be the logic? First I will select row number 0. And then I will start scanning all the columns. As I have not pressed any of these keys, all these port pins will read high. Then I will make row number is equal to 1. Then I will start with key number 5. So it is not pressed. Key number 6, it is not pressed. Key number 7, it is not pressed. Then I have come to column number 3 now. So I am in row number 1, now in column number 3. Now when the key was pressed, so this behaves as a short circuit. Now what will happen? This 0 via this path will be read here, because this is the lowest resistance path. Then you identify that the key pressed is 8. Okay, the same thing we shall see this in the program. So this is the logic of identifying whether a key has been pressed or not. Now let us see the program. So we have seen the LCD program. Now we shall see the keypad program. So all the functions related to the keypad, they have been written in this keypad.c. Okay. Now if you see, I have written all the keys as per my interfacing diagram. Okay. And with the development board which you are using, so there the key numbers have been printed in the similar fashion. Okay. So that's why I have written in the same fashion. Okay. So it's a 4x4 matrix. Now, the first thing is to initialize the keypad. So what should I initialize? Be very careful. I have to initialize all the rows as output. So where are the rows connected? The rows are connected to pin number 9, 10, 14 and 15. Don't do a mistake of bringing all these in one more parenthesis. Right? This is wrong. So when you are writing a 1 to the direction register, this is the syntax. So this will make all the rows as output, and you want to make all the columns as input. So where are the columns connected? Pin number 0, 1, 4 and 8 of port 1. So to this you will be writing 1, and to the whole you have to perform the negation. And then you have to AND with the bits of FIO DIR. This step is very important. This is to make those pins 1, because I want to configure these pins as output pins, and this is to write 0. Okay. Now after this, let us come to the logic. Okay. For example, in the main, I will be always checking whether I have pressed a key or not. So it will go to this definition. Okay. Whatever the key I have pressed, that will be copied to this variable called as key, which is declared as character. Okay. So I will go to this get key pressed. Right. So I have declared a row number and the column number. I start with row number 0. Okay. And I end at row number 3. That's why it is less than 4. So now I start with 0. So set row to 0. So row number is 0 now. So I will go to row number 0. See here. Now there what I am doing, if you see, I am making, as per the row number, I am writing 0 to that row. Now currently the row number is 0. Okay. So since the row number is 0, I am writing 0 to that row and I am coming back. Then I am finding the column number. So I go to the function column. So I am in row number 0. So in column, I will be reading each of the column one by one. You can also say I will be scanning that column. So first I will check for column number 0, which is connected to the 0th bit of port 1. And I am checking whether I got a 0 or not. So if I got a 0, it means what? A key has been pressed in column number 0, hence written 0. If not in column number 0, then come to column number 1, which is connected to P1.1. And if I get a 0, it means a key has been pressed in column number 1. So this will return 1. Right? If no key has been pressed in either of the columns, so I am returning what? 4. So in our case, we didn't press any key in row number 0. Right? So in the first iteration, it will return 4. Right? Then if you come to the function, if column number, only if the column number is less than 4, then you return the key code. But the column number is not 4 now. Right? So what will happen now? Again the row number will be incremented. Now row number is equal to 1. It will again go to this function. What is the row number now? It is equal to 1 now. So hence that row will be made 0 now. After this, you will again go to scan the columns. Now you are in row number 1. In row number 1 also, we have not pressed any of the keys. Hence, again it will return 4. Okay. So once it returns 4, right? So this condition will be false. Now the row number will be equal to 2. So you will make row number 2 equal to 0. Then again you will come to the column. So when you come to this column, you will see that I had pressed a 0 key. In that case, you will return a 1. So ultimately what you got is, you got row number as 2 and column number as 1. So if I replace this, this is row number 2 and column number 1. Right? And this condition is true now. Now what is the key code it will return? If you go to the key code, see here, This is row number 0, row number 1, and we are in row number 2. In row number 2, which is the column number 1. So this is column 0 and this is column 1. So it will return this key. So this key will be collected in key, and that key you will be printing onto the LCD. So this is the logic of the key detection. Any doubts, you can approach me personally. Thank you.